I'm here today because I'm addicted.
No sweat. I play video games better than anybody.
You'd think with all my video game experience, I'd be feeling more prepared.
Hello, game fans, and welcome to the Gaming Sessions Podcast, the audio support group for gaming addicts. And this is episode 4. We've made it to the 4th episode, and with me, as ever, is the immense John Bibby. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Ian. Good to be here again.
Excellent, excellent. So we've made it through 4. We're getting through all of our little technical niggles. And how are you finding making a podcast?
I'm really enjoying it, actually. It's everything I get to get off my chest every week from everything I read. And to be honest, you're the only person I can talk to about this anyway. So it's great that we have an excuse to do it every week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good to get all of this news and talk about it. So let's start it as we usually do. So this week, what have you been playing?
I've not been playing a massive amount of different things than we've talked about before. I've gone back to Batman Arkham Knight. I've completed it, as we talked about last time, but I've gone back to do a few more of the side missions, because I've heard that there's different endings that you get if you do different types of missions. And I know I could probably just go on YouTube and watch them, but I do want to actually figure them out for myself. So I'm going back and doing a few more of the side missions. I also downloaded today you could get new Batmobiles and new Batman skins and things like that. So
yeah, so I see the 1989 Batman.
Yeah,
pack,
I had to go and get that because that's my favourite Batman. The original Michael Keaton. That was a fantastic film. So yeah, getting that again was fantastic, and the Batman skin for that. I've only had about half an hour playing around with it, but I was just looking at it more than actually playing it. So yeah, going back to that has been great.
Yeah, the sort of the Penguin level where you're sort of under the city, going through the tunnels with all the ducks and all of the sort of memorable. I say memorable, I can't remember much, but all of that sort of underground racing track. I mean, it looked good.
That's the Riddler stuff. Yeah, I haven't done much of that because it is annoying me. I'm not very good at controlling the car. I need to get better at it, but it is really good fun. And the game's great, as we said before, and I'm looking forward to just spending a bit more time with it. Other things I've been playing. Well, I have actually been sort of forcing myself to do. Is probably the wrong word, but it's playing Halo 2, because we talked last time. I'm new to Xbox, and I got the Halo Master Chief Collection. Really enjoyed Halo 1. And I started playing Halo 2, and it seems to have changed a lot. You don't have the same sort of weapons. You don't have the battle rifle anymore, which was I thought it was a great gun. You got the twin submachine guns that sort of fills that slot, and then you got the battle rifle that's not quite as good anymore. But the story seems to have taken a big leap. The story seems to have come on leaps and bounds in this one, and obviously you're back on Earth in this one now.
Yeah, it's very much in your face in this one, because it felt like the first one was you going out for a mission, whereas it feels in the second one the missions just come to you. So you sort of sat there, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm not massively into it, massively far through it. I'll tell you what, the section I have got to, and it made me turn it off after a while, and I will go back to it. But I'm now playing as the Arbiter. The Arbiter, yeah, that's it. And I've just started doing that, and I'm probably about 20 minutes into doing that bit. And that's not as much fun as playing as Master Chief. No. Definitely not. And I will do it.
They do introduce the sort of the invisibility and the laser sword, which can be quite satisfying.
That's cool, but I didn't know it was coming. It was a bit jarring. I don't know anything about Halo, so this was my first time playing it. But it was a bit jarring to sort of do that, and it's just not as much fun. I'm hoping this isn't. I don't know anything about the Halo game, so I'm hoping this is not something that's going to keep coming back. I'm hoping it's just going to be a small bit, but part of me thinks it's not.
Yeah, well, I'll let you into a little secret. Basically, these two stories will run parallel. You'll keep jumping from one to the other, and then you'll meet the plant from Little Shop of Horrors. And
Feed me Seymour.
Yeah, that's it. And he'll give you a job, and basically that's when your paths divide. But yeah, their paths are intertwined, and I think they brought that back for Halo 5.
Right.
So they've got the Locke character, which is this sort of futuristic Spartan, and he's like a Spartan in the future. So he's then sort of blaming Master Chief for doing something. So I think there's going to be very much this: you play as Locke in the beginning, then when you meet or realise what Master Chief has actually done, then you go back and play as him. and then it'll keep jumping from one to the other.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with Halo 2 and 3 and 4. I'm gonna get through them all. I'm determined to get through them all before Halo 5 comes out, to catch up on it all. To be honest, I'm not saying it's a bad game at all. It's a fantastic game, even for a...
The cutscenes are beautiful as well. They're sort of
they've
redone,
obviously been redone,
remastered
haven't they?
cutscenes.
Yeah. And they do look absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's a great game, and I will put more time into it. I'm just sort of trying to find time to do it. But I just found that bit where you suddenly start playing as the Arbiter a little jarring for my taste, anyway.
Yeah,
but I'll crack on with it. I'll persevere.
Yeah, once you've done that, Halo 3 is much more the familiar first-person shooter that you're used to.
Yeah.
And then Halo 4 is sort of an update of that. It's one of my favourites. I mean, and then after that you can do Reach. I mean, ODST comes with it as well, so you can do that. But Reach is on 360, and I should think that will come out in the next year or so. I hope.
Well, is Halo 4 wasn't done by Bungie, was it? Halo 3 was the last Bungie one, is that right?
Yeah, Halo 3 was the last Bungie one. Then
343 after that.
343 took over and did 4, and then they've done a remaster of ODST.
Okay.
And now they've done 5.
Well, it's like I said last time that on the last week's podcast. It's me discovering the Xbox, because it's the first one I've had with the Xbox One. So it's been a great time to step in, having the Master Chief Collection, and next week or maybe the week after, Gears of War Ultimate Edition. I've got that pre-ordered. Looking forward to play that game. I've been wanting to play for ages, so I'm really looking forward to that. And the fact that you get all the other ones on the backwards compatibility as well, so that's going to keep me going for a long time, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's next week, isn't it?
I think it's 25th or something. So possibly next week. Yeah,
it's really close. Yeah, really close. Yeah, I might get that. Sadly, it comes out at the same sort of time as Disney Infinity 3, so I'm going to be torn between the two. But I'll probably just get them both.
No, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a cracking one. So other things I've been playing this week. One main game that I'll go on to in a minute. But another game I've been playing that I've really enjoyed, and I think you would really enjoy. It's on the PS Plus this month. I downloaded it on my Vita, called Castle Storm. I don't know if it's available on Xbox. Have you ever heard of that one before?
Yes, I have. I think it was a free with live arcade, actually, or free with Xbox Live.
Oh, okay.
But,
well, this one, it's a really interesting mix of play mechanics. It's a tower defense game at heart, but then you're mixing that with Angry Birds.
Okay. So you've still got the catapult mechanism.
Yeah. So you defend your castle you've got two castles opposite each other, and you're defending it to start with basically a large crossbow stroke catapult that you're firing at the guys that are attacking you. But then you can also send out your own troops, and you've got archers and swordsmen and weak swordsmen and powerful swordsmen, things like that. So while those guys are fighting, you then can select different weapons for your catapult that you can throw and try to destroy the other castle. So you're trying to manage all these different types of things at the same time. It's a fantastic game, and I wouldn't have bought it unless it was on PS Plus. So I obviously downloaded it for free, fired it up on my Vita. Thought, which I do every month. I download every game just to give them a try, and then sort of 2 hours later, I was putting it down because it was a fantastic game. It's not great. It's okay graphically, nothing amazing. There's a bit of a story there. It's quite funny. It takes the mick out of itself.
Yeah, I think it was out. I think it was on Xbox. It was Games with Gold a couple of months ago. Yeah, I downloaded it. I've got it in my library. I haven't actually played it yet. Because I remember sort of seeing the sort of cartoony graphics, and as you say, it's kind of got that Angry Birds vibe, where you got like a tower which you then have ranged play, and then the little soldiers are running around as well.
It's great. I mean, I've only played it on Vita because I haven't played it on the big screen. I think, but it feels more like a mobile game to me, and it was really, really good fun. I was just playing it while my daughter was watching CBeebies the other day, just to distract me, and I thought it was a fantastic game. Really, really good. I'm going to put more time into that. And just well, I'll move on to actually. No, we'll talk about that later in the news about the new stuff that's happening with PS Plus. But the other game that's really, really got my attention in the last sort of 7 days. Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. Have you played that? Or you haven't played it, but you've heard of it?
I've heard of it, yes. Yeah, they're a walking simulator.
Yeah, yes, for a better word, yeah, it is. But it's
a really pretty one.
Very, very pretty game. But I think you would love this. It's right in your wheelhouse, this sort of game. It's a really hard game to talk about because I don't want to give anything away, no spoilers at all, because the stories, and I haven't finished it myself yet. I'm only about maybe 4 or 5 hours into it. And a lot of people have told me that it is only a 5 to 6 hour game, but I think it's going to take me a lot longer than that because I spend half my time just wandering through cornfields looking at the scenery because it is such a beautiful game. But it just starts off, you're in an English village, which is a great thing as well because it feels very familiar, very, very at home. You're not in a big American cityscape. So you're in an English village in Shropshire and everyone's disappeared. And you don't know why. Obviously, the game's called Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, so you've got a bit of an idea. And you're going around to try and find out what's happening. There's hardly any controls to it. You can't run, you can only walk, so you can use sticks to walk and look around. And then there's X to interact with things. And that's pretty much it. That's the only things you can do. So you're finding things like you can answer telephones and you hear the conversations, or you walk into buildings, you see these glowing lights, and then if you activate the light, it sort of gives you a silhouette of a person. You hear a conversation that's happened there, and you're trying to figure out what's happened. And it's really hard to tell anymore, but it's a very, very engaging story, and the way it's all played out and the way it's all set is fantastic. This is not my type of game. This is not normally my type of game at all. But completely got me, completely drew me in, and I'm really, really looking forward to playing more of it. It's a game I don't want to play more of because I know I'll finish quite quickly, but really, really engaging game. Some of the best story writing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I've heard both good and bad. I think the visuals look amazing. I think the idea of this sort of the walking experience adventure, I think it's becoming more and more popular. And if it's done well, it's really good. I mean, I did Gone Home, and that is a fantastic game. Even though all it is a house that you just explore, and then you find notes and you find like all these different bits and bobs. You can touch everything. You could just pick a book off the bookshelf and just fling it across the room, or a pen out of the little pen pot and just put it down in a drawer somewhere. Everything is touchable and usable, but you don't have to. You just walk around, you find little notes, and it sounds like a similar ilk. You walk around a village, so it's Gone Home with a bigger environment, with a little bit more money spent on the special effects, with the sort of the lighting thing. I've sort of seen a couple of clips where you see the glowing orbs, and it's using this sort of the light reflection technology, which everyone seems to be using at the moment. So previously lighting was very fixed and standard, whereas now they've got this kind of bouncing lighting effect. So if an orb goes past a building or something, then it lights up the building, it reflects off the building, and it looks sort of very pretty, I have to say.
It's kind of distracting in a way, how pretty the game is, because you're trying to listen to these conversations because the clues are all in the conversations. A bit like Her Story you were talking about a couple of weeks ago. But you spend most of your time going, wow, that lighting effect is amazing. Look how it's coming off. Oh, I missed what did she say? What did she say about that guy? Oh, damn. So but yeah, really, really good game. Fantastic game. If you've got a PlayStation and you want to try it, I'd highly recommend it. I think it's £11 or £12, but a really, really good experience. I'd put it up there with the likes of Journey, which is one of my favourite games out there.
The main criticism I've heard of it is, whereas a Journey never sticks on the same pace for any length of time, so as soon as people start to get used to the pacing of Journey, it changes it. Whereas it feels this is only going from press and things that I've read, but Everyone's Gone to the Rapture seems to stick at this walking pace and then never leave. There's never a sense of, oh, something exciting's happened, so the pacing of the story is going to speed up a little bit or anything.
I've read those reviews as well, and I completely disagree with them, because it's not that sort of game. It's not a fast-paced game at all, and that's not how it's said. And they did actually add a in quote marks, run mechanic into it. And I tried this because it was in an update after the game came out, and you have to hold down R2 to run. But it's not even a run, you're just sort of power walking through an English village as opposed to walking through an English village. It doesn't make that much of a difference. But it's not that sort of game at all, and I don't think you need to run, you just need to experience it. And I quite like that you're moving slow, because you get to take in all the visuals, which are brilliant. I mean, people do want to speed run the game and things like that, but it's not going to happen. It's not that sort of game. But it's a beautiful game. I really, really, really enjoyed playing it.
There was this game called Sir, You Are Being Hunted.
Oh, yes. I remember reading your review about this.
And that was all set in an English village. It was randomly generated, but it was basically an English village, and you'd wander around and you were scavenging inside houses for bits of meat or food or weaponry or something, because there's just these robot hunters sort of roaming around just trying to kill you. And it didn't have half the polish of this, but it just reminded me whenever they sort of say, oh, it's set in this English village, I just have these visions of me wandering around scavenging in bushes just to escape these metallic hunters. It was really cool.
Yeah, not quite the same, this one.
Yes.
I haven't finished it. I don't know how it finishes. I've got a good idea, and if it does go the way I think it's going, the story is even better than I think it could be. My imagination's pretty wild, and it's going further than I could think it would have done at the moment, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Oh, cool.
But that's about all I've been playing for the last week. I've been playing Destiny and a few other things, but those are the most interesting ones I've been playing. So over to you. What have you been up to?
Well, as you say, the staples have been being a staple. I've been working my way through Far Cry 4. I'm just getting a bit sick of it, to be honest, now.
You've not finished it?
No, because I think such a difference between Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4, because Far Cry 3 very much gave you pointers to say, this is a story marker, this is a story marker, this, and you could do the story pretty easily. But then at the end of it, you sort of found out that there was lots of side quests and missions that you could have done, and it seems like they've gone the reverse here. So Far Cry 4, you end up just inundated with side quests, and the story missions are really hard to find. So I end up sort of doing different things, going, oh, do I do the yogi thing? Let's go to Shangri-La for a bit. And then I'm thinking, well, am I not progressing enough? Should I go and get a new rucksack or something? And so I do a bit of hunting. And I think I've now figured out that I need to look for this as a campaign mission all the time. But there was a point where I lost the two leaders, and I thought, I'm waiting for those two leaders to try and give me instructions. Yeah. But then I had to wait for some Willis guy to run through his story. So I'm 20 hours in. I've done about 50% of the map, so that's pretty much all the bell towers, opened up most of the map, and done lots of different stuff. I escaped the prison, finished Act 2, finished the prison level and stuff. And so I'm just gonna go through it at my own pace at the moment, because I took a little bit of a break, and I have been playing Submerged. And do you remember me talking how I wanted this from the Summer of Arcade? So Submerged, it's by Uppercut Games, who had worked on things like BioShock before. The visuals were really lovely, so I don't know if you saw the images of it, but basically it's a story of a brother and sister. I think she's called Miku and I think he's called Timo or something, and the story starts with them adrift in this little fishing boat in this post-apocalyptic flooded world. Yeah. And they drift into this metropolis, or what used to be a metropolis, and so only the sort of the highest hotels and skyscrapers and telephone towers still are popping out the water. And your brother's been injured, and so the missions are, you need to go and find some medicine for your brother, you need to go stitch up your brother, you need to get some insect repellent to keep the insects away. And so basically all of these sort of 10 missions are all trying to help your brother. And so you hop into your little fishing boat and you scoot around this water world, and it's just really beautiful. The actual levels are it's a really beautiful game, and there's some really sort of wow moments. So once you're in your fishing boat and you're cruising along, a sort of a giant mutant whale will just surface just next to you, and you're just like, oh wow, that's amazing. And it might be a school of flying fish or some dolphin or something. So each time you sort of explore the world, there are these animals which come towards the boat. If you spot them all, you get the card or whatever it is to go towards the achievement. Okay. It's got no failure state, so you can't die, you can't fall off anything. It got a really sort of melodic piano soundtrack. It's got no proper talking or acting or anything. It's just sort of and then it comes up with the text dialogue. All the story is told through these pictograms, almost like cave drawings, about where they came from and how the city is come to be and why is it covered in greenery and plants and trees. So if there's no, you can't die and you can't fall, so
what's your penalty for not doing well?
There's no penalty. The aim is to climb 10 of the biggest structures. Right. And it's almost like a very tame Tomb Raider.
Right.
In that the character has to shimmy across ledges, jump from ledge to ledge, go across small planks of wood to go from sort of section to section. And all you have to do is collect these items. There are other collectibles that you can get which tell the story of the city, which tell the story of the people of the city. Yeah. I mean, that's a slight spoiler because there's this kind of element that you're being watched whilst you're collecting all these things. And yeah, you can't die. It's a really kind of pleasant game. Nice. It's a really serene game, and you just work your way through it. It's about 4 hours long. It's not without its issues. Mm-hmm. It does have a few little niggly bugs. You can upgrade your boat to speed along, and if you're at a point where the whale might surface next to you, if you press your speed boost, then the whale speed boosts with you. So, if you're cruising along and you're next to a building and you speed boost, the whale that just surfaced next to you then suddenly sort of rams into a building next to you and at the same speed as your speed boost. It's a bit samey. So there's the 10 buildings. There's very little to differentiate them. But I enjoyed it. I love these small indie finish in 5 hour type games. And it could have been so much more. I did like the characters. I did like the setting. The gameplay was solid, but it did lack in a few different areas, such as the technicals and the fact that there was no change in pace. Similar to what I was saying with the Rapture, it would have benefited from not having any kind of action sequence, but having a moment where if the story reveals something exciting and almost like a twist, why not then just feed the player with loads of different story elements for a few seconds. On the whole, I really liked Submerge. I love the concept of it. I like the idea of it. I think the pacing lacked a lot. And there could have been a moment where if you found out a twist, then they could have fed you loads of information, just to kind of, because I don't think it needs action to speed the pacing up. I think it just make for a nice story that if you get a twist, then you suddenly are fed with 5 bits of information in quick succession, and then it slows down again. I think all games kind of need this pacing where they think, if something exciting happens, then just move with it, and then return back to the normal speed.
Even in a 4 hour game, you need a bit of peaks and troughs, basically, of excitement, things to keep you playing the game and keep you coming back to it. But it does sound like an interesting game. I think it sounds like a peaceful game, to be honest, something to sort of chill out with.
No, it was something that I could play in front of everybody. I could play in front of the girls, can play in front of the wife. I could play, and just nobody complained about it. Usually, if I'm shooting or exploding things, then somebody's got an issue. But then that was a really peaceful game, really nice to play. So that was my main game of the week. You'll be happy to know that I have started downloading Batman.
Excellent.
So I treated myself to a 5 terabyte external drive.
I need to do that. I need to do that for both my consoles soon.
So I've done that. So I plugged that in. So now I've got loads of space. So I've started putting Batman on there, but I think it's probably finished by now, but I haven't started playing it yet. The bad thing about that, though, is I'm going to go on holiday on Friday, so I won't get a properly chance to play it until next week. But yeah, apart from that...
Sorry, just going back to Batman, when you do start it, make sure you've got an hour, maybe 2 hours to just sit and play it, because the beginning is really cool. The beginning sort of 2 hours is really, really cool. You don't want to be stopping that. But yeah,
no, I can't wait.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
So as always, I like to play some mobile games just in my lunch breaks and in the time that I have available. And so I've been playing a game called Racer Sun. So this is on iOS and it's also on PlayStation 4.
That looks a beautiful game, yeah.
It's really good. It is really good. It's kind of a grayscale, almost like an endless runner, but it's an endless flyer to see how far you can get in the time. And the sense of speed is fantastic. It really is. I've just been playing it constantly this week. Because what you do is essentially you're a solar ship and the sun is about to go down. So as the sun sets, you've got to try and get as far as you can in the time frame, and there are different kinds of orbs that you can collect. So you can get ones that will give you extra time, so it'll make the sun rise in the sky a bit higher. There are multipliers, so these blue triangles, when you get them, the more that you get, the more your points increase. And there is jump abilities as well. And the aim of the game is just get as far as you can. And there's extra sort of achievements. So if you use your jump 10 times, or if you get to region 3, for instance. But as I say, the sense of speed and the control method is really smooth, really fluid. It's really fun to play. So I really got into racing that.
Cool.
And I think I even got down to ranked within the top 1,000. Because I think I must have been playing it that much that I started off and I think I was probably the 3,500th best or something, and then by the end of the week I was definitely sub 1,000. So I was quite chuffed with myself.
That's an iOS game, is it?
Yeah, it's on iOS, but it's also on PlayStation 4 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I preferred it on iOS because I could just sit on the loo and just hit it for 10 minutes
and then play a game.
Yeah. But then, because I played that, I showed it to somebody, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's just like Into the Dead." So I was like, "What's Into the Dead?" Because I love games
Into
anyway.
the Dead. I've been playing that for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So I decided to check that one out, and so I played Into the Dead. I've reviewed Race the Sun on GamingDebug.com, but I haven't done Into the Dead yet because there's quite a few little things and functions and mechanics that I need to get used to. So I understood that you could use the dog and start off with a 1,500 meter head start and all this kind of stuff. But I don't think I played it as much as Race the Sun, so I didn't feel confident to review it like I did with Race the Sun.
Now, Into the Dead, I thought was because I don't like the idea of that much of endless run of games. I don't like the idea of horde mode games at all because basically you are going to die. But yeah. Into the Dead, I really enjoyed. I like the graphic style of it. I like the way it was done. The sound on it as well. It was a fantastic game. And I really enjoyed it.
Worked really well. I decided it's been a first-person endless runner week for me, so I played those two. And then when I heard that there was an update to the Fallout Shelter,
was there? I missed that.
Yeah,
that completely passed me by. What have they done?
They had an update where they've increased the type of gear that you can get, so you can get gear that has like a blue background.
But you'd left all your people go. You let them all.
Yeah,
go.
well, everyone was dead. I mean, I'd left everybody outside, but then I systematically brought them all back. So I didn't even start a new game. I revived each and every one of them. Got all 130
but that was your
people
great
back.
Experiment.
And well, I've got 2 games on the go, so this is my big send off. I thought, right, I'm finished Fallout Shelter now. I send them all off into the wasteland. They can fend for themselves. And so when I came back to it, they were all dead as doornails, but they'd all collected loads of gear. So some of them I'd been putting through their paces in the different schools and the different power up things. So some of them going for days and collected a load of stuff. So I got them all back. And as they came back, I had to sort of get rid of any gear that I didn't need. So anything under 6, sell it, and that would then fund me bringing other people back from the dead. And so in the end, I brought all sort of 130 people back from the dead, got them back in to find out what all these new extra bits were. So they've added some difficulty levels in breeding them. Right. There's some blue gear that you can get. Okay. So I'm trying to think, see if I can bring up the details. But yeah, as soon as I heard it, I thought, right, that's it. I'm back on. My children experiment is still underway.
Oh, the child A, child B.
Yeah, so I'm still doing that. Now I've returned back to it. So I'll return back to my science experiment. But yeah, apart from that, let's see, Far Cry 4, Submerged, Batman on the Go, Raise the Sun, Into the Dead, and then Fallout Shelter. That's pretty much been my gaming diet for the week.
Very good.
And of course, I've been tweeting about and waiting patiently for Tales from the Borderlands Episode 4. I started to see reviews of it, and I'm thinking, come on, I need it. Where is it? But I haven't got it yet.
It's released today. I'm sure I've read about that. It's been come out today.
I hope so. It might just be, because I've got it on tablet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure that's out pretty soon. Either today or tomorrow, I'm sure I've heard.
Shall we go to the gaming news section then?
Sir, news from the underground.
I'm Rick Hamlin for GNN News.
It's that sparse time of the year. There's not a massive amount of news coming out at the moment. But for me, I think the greatest news in the last sort of week to 10 days, I don't know about yourself, but was the Battlefront space battles that we talked about at Gamescom briefly. But they just look fantastic. I know it was a while ago, but they still look fantastic to me. I think I look great.
No, I agree. And the more I've seen about it since Gamescom, the more I get excited. So there was a question that if you were the Millennium Falcon, were you massively overpowered compared to
was that
everybody
like
else?
a hero ship.
Yeah, and so the answer was yes, basically. They said, if you're the Millennium Falcon, you have better shields, you can smash through TIE fighters, you can do all these extra things, you've got better cannons, but what levels the playing field is the minute you get the Millennium Falcon, you're just waving a big red flag. And so everybody suddenly comes and attacks you. And the same thing happens with Slave 1 as well, so it levels itself out. So I'm looking forward to playing that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I really can't wait. I mean, I was already sold on Battlefront anyway, but that really, really sold me on it. But I mean, other news this week, there's, like I say, it's been pretty sparse. Rainbow Six Siege being pushed back to December 1st from a late October release date. They said they've still got to work on it. Did you see that?
I heard the story. I'm not that bothered, to be honest. I think it was a good idea to push it back because the November calendar is so chocker at the moment.
Everyone's sort of running scared from Fallout as soon as they announce Fallout, really.
Yeah, and Tomb Raider, and so there's a lot of things, Gears of War, so there's a lot of things coming out in the next 2 months that it's probably a good idea to move it to December.
I think it looks good, that Rainbow Six Siege game. I really quite looking forward to that. I've not been a massive fan of the last few Rainbow Six games, but that looks like the original Rainbow Six games back on the PC in the late 90s. I spent a lot of time playing where you spend ages figuring out your kit and your way you're going to attack a building and things. I think it looks like a really good game. I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm not going to buy it on day release. I'm going to wait for reviews in case they have messed it up. But I think that looks like a really good game. I'm really looking forward to that one. Another story that I noticed this week. This is from the PlayStation camp again. The PS Plus vote to play. Do you see this?
Yeah. It's interesting to sort of get people involved.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea, and the one thing that's slightly disappointing, but we'll see moving forward. It's not going to be a monthly thing. This is not every month you get to vote for which game. They're gonna, it's going to be once every 3 or 4 months. I don't think they've even said on a time frame yet. But it's a really good idea, and the first 3 games, I think it was Zombie Vikings and 2 others whose names escape me, to be honest, mostly indie games, all look quite good. I cast my vote this morning for Zombie Vikings, but I think it's a good way of moving forward. I think it'd be interesting to see what they do with it. I'm sure something similar will probably come to Xbox as the time goes on as well, but I think it's a good way of getting people more involved with it.
Yeah, I don't really think it's as good of an idea as it seems. I think the vote to play is really good, that it gives people agency and the fact that they can choose what game is going to be on PlayStation Plus. But what baffles me is the behind the scenes, because if from a business point of view, these people are making deals with developers saying, oh, well, so I want Gone Home next month, and so I'm going to give you this amount of money, we're going to have this discount, all this kind of stuff. And so there's all these deals going on to make those PlayStation Plus games available. And all of a sudden they're saying, we've got them with 4 different games, and then 3 of them are going to get scrapped. So all that effort to go into making deals with the games. So at some point, are they going to just do them all, but they're just going to put in, say they're going to put like whatever, Castle Crashers with 3 really rubbish titles because they hope that everyone's going to pick Castle Crashers, and the next one, you put Gone Home in there, and then put another 3 total stinkers, and just try and drive the actual game downloads that they want to drive. I think it's a good idea, but I just don't know how it's going to work.
Well, I think that's why they've said they're not going to do it every month. But I think what they'll do with the ones that don't get voted in, so the other 2 that don't win, they'll just become free extra games next month or the month after or something like that, because you always get about 6 games on the PS Plus free games, so they'll just appear further down the line, or they'll become, you can buy them on a massive discount like 99p or 1.99 or something like that if you voted for them but didn't win. There'll be a PS Plus discount on them anyway. But I know.
So it's almost vote to choose the one that goes first.
I think that.
So they're all going to come out, but then which one comes out first is based on.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be, because, like you said, they've got to be paying a lot of money to be able to get the rights to give these games away for free. So there's deals in the background, and everyone involved in this are not idiots, so they've got to be making money off it some way. So.
Yeah, and you're going to be gutted if you've gone to all the effort of going to the meetings and arranging the deals, and then all of a sudden the public vote has said that they want a different game. So you're like, okay, so then we're back to square one. So hopefully it works. Be nice to see how it works.
It'll be interesting to see how it comes out. But it's like I say, I've been on. I've cast my vote. I'm waiting for the results of that. So we'll see what happens. So
Well, I mean, Xbox has got their summer spotlight still in full flow, and a real gem came out this week. Actually, two real gems came out this week. So, Brothers: Tales of Two Sons is an immense game. It's a really good game. Really, it came out of the blue, and it's just a fantastic game. So seeing that come on, sadly it wasn't discounted. It's still about $14.99, but yeah, that's.
I haven't actually played that. It's been on my watch list because it was on a lot of people's Game of the Year list last year. That game it looks fantastic. It's the co-op game, isn't it? Or it doesn't have to be co-op.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be co-op. So you control the two brothers with the two control sticks. It takes a while to get used to, but once you sort of get into it and you find your rhythm, it's just a beautiful game, and the animations are lovely, and the puzzles are satisfying. It's a really cool game. And then the other one, which came out not out of the blue, I knew it was coming out, but just to suddenly appear that all of a sudden it's out, is the Zombie U.
Yes.
So it was Zombie U, but now it's just Zombie. I heard that was being remade for Xbox and PlayStation, and then I thought that was going to be months away. But then, lo and behold, it just pops up on the Xbox store as part of their summer spotlight, and it's a great game. It's one of my favourite zombie games.
The terrifying insta-death game, isn't it?
Well, it's not so much insta-death. It's
Permadeath.
more
Permadeath. Sorry,
it's realistic death as well. So yeah, your character does die. You'll go through a lot of different characters. So you have your first survivor, and then when he does die, he's dead. But then all of a sudden you wake up gasping as another survivor in the same sort of base. It gives you a little bit more investment in the character. So if you do get quite far with the character, you actually feel a bit more connected to them. And it's nice to see your zombie self where you left them. So if you actually go back to the station or wherever, and they're roaming around with the backpack on their back, that you can still bat them around the head with a cricket bat and steal all their stuff.
I thought when it came out, it was a really interesting concept for a game. And the fact that it was a Wii U launch game sort of baffled me a little bit. But it did well, I think, on the Wii U.
Oh, yeah, I've still got it. I think it's a great game because it works well with the controller, because you can use it as a scanner, you can use it as a constant inventory. So when you start searching, you can still be looking at the screen to see if there's any zombies around you, but then you're looking down at your controller to see what you've got in the backpack or what you've got on the dead body. And what makes it great is the fact that even though you have a health monitor, the zombies, if they bite you, that's it. It doesn't matter if you're on full health. If a zombie bites you, then you're done for. And the zombies themselves actually feel like they could overpower you. If you can get one on their own, it's like, yeah, okay, I can sort this out. I can do this. So you can whack them around the head. Even if you have a gun, you can sort them out. But then you get two, and you're like, hang on a sec. Now this is getting a little bit more tricky, because one can start coming at me whilst I'm sorting out the other. Whereas you get the sort of the Dead Risings, the Resident Evil, you walk into a room of 20 zombies, and there isn't that fear there. Whereas when you play this game, there's definite sense of if there's 2 or 3 zombies in front of me, I'm in trouble, and it really puts the fear of zombies back into zombies, which I think has been lost in a lot of these sort of modern action zombie
you can
shooters.
get bitten 3 times and you don't die, that sort of thing. It's in a lot of ones.
Exactly. Oh, well, yeah, I've been bitten. I'm going to just take this health potion or injection, and then all of a sudden I'm fine. Whereas in this, if they just leap on you, and if they can get past you, you can push them away. But if they bite you, then that's it. You're done.
I quite like that.
And it's all, the graphics are great. The setting in London's really good. On the Wii U version, you could have the controller was also your microphone. So the guy who was talking to you came out of the controller. So it sort of gave you that sense of, I've got a walkie-talkie on me. And so I really enjoyed it. So if you haven't already played Zombie U, then I would definitely say try out Zombie or Brothers.
I think I might give Zombie a go. I might get Brothers a go as well. But Zombie, I've been meaning to play for a while, so I think I definitely will give that a try.
Yeah, Brothers is really nice. It's about 4, maybe 5 hour game. It's a really pleasant experience. Zombie is not a 4-hour game. It could be a lot longer, and it's punishing. It really is punishing. If you like a challenge, Zombie is a good one. If you just like to experience something, then Brother is probably a good one to start with. And then Octodad was announced for the 26th.
For the Xbox, is it?
Yeah. So that's quite a funny game. I see
It's good fun. I like Octodad. The control mechanism alone is worth playing that game for.
Yeah. And then one that I had to look up because I saw the box art on the advert was Extreme Exorcism.
Okay.
Now, when I saw the box art, I was thinking, oh, okay, a little retro shooter, it looks like. So I looked it up and tried to find out a little bit more about it. And it's a single screen, 8-bit, I'd like to say sort of shooter battler. It's one of these where you have, essentially, you're a little 8-bit character, and then there are ghosts which fly around. And you pick up a gun, and then you shoot the ghost.
Okay.
And then, in the next round, the gun is still available, but the ghost can pick it up.
Okay.
And then, so the ghost could pick up the shotgun and then try and attack you with it, but you then go and pick up a sword. And then the sword becomes available to the ghost. And there's all these different mechanics that are playing along. But essentially, you've got to clear the room of ghosts. But the better you get and the more rounds you go through, the more weapons are available to the ghosts and the more things that the ghost can do. And it looked like one of these sort of frantic, almost like a Meat Boy controlled, sort of flying around the screen, jumping on the platforms, shooting each other. And it looked quite fun. I think there's a 4-player as well, so it's one of those sort of couch co-op, jumping around the screen, drink in your hand.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun game. I'll give that one a try.
Yeah, so
one of the other things I picked up from news from this week, which I think is fantastic, I'm also massively jealous of the guy, is the first millionaire from playing, well, I don't know if it's the first, but a lot of money, made $6 million from playing Dota. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the TI. It's the second
16-year-old guy.
Yeah, he's been playing it since he was 8 years old or something. So, the second international.
Yeah.
So last year was the very first, and that had a multi-million-pound prize pool. And then this year the American team won, didn't they?
I think it was an American kid. Yeah, American team.
Yeah. I can't say I know too much about it. I played Dota 2, and I played about 4 rounds, and people were berating me for being rubbish. But everyone was talking about it, so I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And as MOBAs go, yeah, it's fantastic. It's very addictive. There's so many mechanics. But then I watched the international last year, and they had the beginners Twitch stream, and they also had a hardcore Twitch stream. So the people who were commenting on the beginners one tried to explain it a bit more, but it was very salesy, trying to get people into the game and not really being like a sports commentator. But it looked like it was a bigger and better event than last year. The teams were a lot more closer together and closer matched. I only watched a little bit. I listened to it in the background whilst I was doing a report, but I think it sounded like everyone was pretty happy with it and happy with the outcome, and the matches were exciting. The matches were shorter than last year, but yeah, there was loads of teams that ended up with million plus, and then I think was it 3rd and 4th places ended up with 600,000 and 200,000.
They're making certain decent profits out of playing games nowadays. I'm not jealous at all. But they're making money out of playing games.
Yeah, I think the risk is, I think it's great that they're bringing esports into the foreground, but from what I watched this year, I worry that there is that sort of this. It's a very complicated game, and the commentators didn't really help the fact because they were using language that the general layman wouldn't be able to understand.
Yeah, they were talking in Dota basically.
Yeah. And so unless you really, I mean, even people, I played it, I knew the kind of terms that they were talking about, but even that was hard to follow. So I think I would have liked a little bit more dumbing down on the commentary, and then an analysis afterwards. Maybe it's good to see video games definitely in the forefront of e-gaming now.
Getting to the front of it, it's fantastic. But I think unless you can get anything else, I can't think of many other big news stories from this week.
Well, I'm very excited about Disney Infinity
Of course,
because
yes.
there was the D23.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was going to talk about that in the film thing, but obviously there's some games news there as well.
Yeah, so okay, well we'll come back to the D23 as a film thing in a moment. But yeah, so out of D23 came out the launch of Disney Infinity, and so that's coming out 28th of August. They had the additional trailer, and I can't wait, to be honest. I'm really looking forward to it. I've got Disney Infinity 2. I build places for my girls to play in. They know of Star Wars now, so hopefully now I can start collecting the Star Wars toys and create them a little universe as well to play in, whilst playing it myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just an excuse, basically, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
No, I don't know anything about Disney Infinity. My daughter is probably gonna have no excuse but to get into it in a few years. But I think I'm gonna jump on board with the whole Toys to Life thing with the Lego Dimensions. Yes, with the ball. I think that looks fantastic. So I think I'll probably jump in on that.
Yeah, what I found is I need to actually set aside time away from the kids in order to build them the world that I want them to play in. Does that make any sense?
You want them to play it, yeah.
Yeah, because they have the Avengers toy set and things like that. So, but then that's a lot of shooting and hurting other characters. Whereas if I create the world, then I can create this world where you might have the odd baddie, but then generally you've got like little adventures to do, little games, little balls or things like that to play with, and then I can put a controller in both their hands and they can roam around this world riding horses as the Lone Ranger, because I've got so many of those little characters. So they might ride a horse as the Lone Ranger, they might fly around as Iron Man, swing around as Spider-Man, but there's no shooting or sort of angry parts of the game, so I'm breaking them in slowly.
Excellent.
I mean, they're still pretty young.
So is there anything else you can think of on the news side?
Well, I did note down a couple of sort of gaming industry things.
Okay.
It's not really the gaming news, but gaming industry stuff was the first one was Gearbox has now got full ownership of Duke Nukem. I mean, they did have originally anyway, but there was this massive lawsuit going on because 3D Realms.
3D Realms, yeah.
Yeah, they sold Duke Nukem to Gearbox and they finished Duke Nukem Forever. But then 3D Realms was bought by this, I think it's like Danish or Dutch company, I think it was Interceptor they were called. And they then started making this Duke Nukem, like, I don't know if it was tower defense game or something, some crazy, totally unrelated Duke Nukem game. And so Gearbox then started to sue them, and there was this big, long drawn out lawsuit, and that was finally agreed this week that Gearbox have full rights to Duke Nukem, and so that's now put to bed after a very long time.
It'd be good if they can turn that into something fantastic. Or, to be honest, just hit me, put Duke Nukem into Borderlands. That would be an interesting character.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would work. Yeah,
it's that same sort of out there sense of humour. It could work quite well. That.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Duke Nukem Forever wasn't what everyone had hoped. It was one of these fabled games that went on for far too long until release. It suffers from the Half-Life 3 thing where everyone built it up and built it up and built it up until it couldn't live up to what it needed to be.
Yeah, Half-Life 3 will happen one day, I believe. I
don't think so. And then my other one was Amazon UK. They've now ceased. Well, at the end of this month, they're ceasing their trade-in scheme. So I hadn't done it personally, but the guy in my office had. And so anytime he wanted to change his games, he would then just go to Amazon, send his game off, and that would go to credit to buying more games.
Okay.
So it was pretty handy. Their prices were pretty good. I think they were trying to take on the likes of the Game and Game Station and these CEX type shops. Yeah. But as of the end of this month, they're no longer doing that.
Okay.
So not as successful as they'd probably hoped.
I think a lot of people see it as faff having to send something off where you could just drop in a shop and do it. So I mean, Game actually, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, they were on the edge of receivership and they've pulled it back dramatically. They'd actually turned a profit. I think last year Game did. From I don't know how, I don't know what the big change has been, but they've actually come back and they're laughing in the face of digital downloads now. And I think a lot of that probably is to do with trade-ins.
Yeah, I agree. I'm surprised that they're still going. I don't think they've got much life left in them, to be honest.
Yeah.
As long if they can make deals with publishers to say we'll do exclusive content if you buy it in game, that might work. And these special editions, if you can get a model of Simon Phoenix with your hard copy of Gears of War, then that might be more tempting than just getting the digital download. But no, I think unless they go into something more niche, I think digital is just inevitable. With music, it's happened. With DVDs, it's happened. It's going to happen. The Blu-ray probably not got that long left in it either. So,
no, I prefer my digital downloads. I do love them because it's just ease of use, isn't it? Especially with films and music, you have it all on your computer, and then you can stream it all over the house or wherever you are to watch it. And with games as well, I prefer just having a library on my consoles, which is why I touched on before. You said you bought a new external hard drive. I'm going to be doing the same thing for both of mine pretty soon, just so I can have everything on there. I don't have to swap discs. The height of laziness, to be honest.
it is just laziness, yeah. And it's access for me as well. I don't go into town as much as I probably should, and I have a few disc games, but I just can't be bothered for the sake of saving myself about 10 quid or something, or trading in a game that I might as well have kept. I might as well just get the digital one and just keep them all.
Yeah.
And hopefully in these times like now where there's not much going on, I can catch up with games.
Yeah, go back to them. That's what I quite enjoy doing.
Yeah. Okay, well, shall we, now we sort of touched upon D23,
Yep.
shall we then talk about Outside World? And
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'd want to talk about before we go on, because quite a lot of news that came out of D23, is the absolute appalling Fantastic Four movie. I don't know if you've seen it. I did go and see it just to see how bad it was.
I heard a lot of bad things.
It's shocking. Probably the best thing I can say about it is the last Fantastic Four movie is better, which was an awful movie as well.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
This movie just feels like either the director or the studio gave up halfway through, which is a shame because I love the Fantastic Four as a comic, you know, the first family of Marvel, and they really deserve a good film. And I was really hoping that this would be it, but it's not. It's terrible.
I didn't feel the need for a new Fantastic Four movie. I thought that had been done.
Yeah, it had been done. It's Fox have just messed it up again, and everyone's saying give the rights back to Marvel. They will do something great with it, or at least they will put the Fantastic Four into another film to make them part of the Marvel universe. But this is Fox just being pig ignorant, I think, and saying no, we'll do it ourselves, and they've made an absolute stinker of a movie.
Do you think they'll make? Do you think they'll make the sequel?
Well, they've said that. I've read in a few things I've read online this week that Fox are not going to give up the rights. They will continue with it. They see it as a long-standing franchise. So, but I hope not. I hope they just either let it die, or sell it back to Marvel, or give it to somebody else that will do something good with it. It's a shame though, because Fox has done really well with the X-Men. I really
It sounds like they've
done.
just done a similar thing in terms of, let's put really young people in it and just make it sort of a prequel to the original almost, but the same story.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the actors' fault. The actors are really good in it, and the acting talent in it is really good. It's come out now that there's the big issues between the director and the studio, and there was lots of behind the scenes stuff that was going on there that we'll probably never get the full story of. But the film has suffered for it, and the characters have suffered for it. So
wasn't there some talk show? I don't know enough about it, but wasn't there some talk show who said you two are supposed to be brother and sister, and yet one of you's black, one of you's white, but you're supposed to be brother and sister?
Yeah, that's Jenny Flame in the Invisible One. Yeah. And they never really explained that. They don't. There's just so many bits that were cut out of it, and I was just while we've been doing the podcast, I've just seen on Twitter that there's some big things showing up about that there was supposed to be a big fight scene with a Thing that never showed up in there as well. But yeah, terrible, absolutely terrible movie. But just one more thing from a slightly more cheerful point of view before we move on to D23. And I saw this today, it made me smile. It's the 20th anniversary of the film Hackers, this week.
Nice.
They're bringing out a 20th anniversary Blu-ray, which I'll probably buy because I love that film. That film was amazing.
It was a great movie. Does it deserve a Blu-ray version?
Yeah, I think it does. I want to hack the planet.
Nice.
I want to listen to that soundtrack again. And that was a fantastic film. The film that spawned 1,000 gamer tags. There's people probably are still out there now called Acid Burn and things like that, and Crash Override. It's a fantastic movie. Way before its time. Can't wait to watch it again. But yeah, anyway, on to D23.
Well, no, I saw a movie. I was checking through the old movie catalogue the other day, and I saw one called Black Hat, which was supposedly about hackers. It had the guy who plays
Thor in it, hasn't it?
Thor, yeah. But I was thinking, Black Hat, that's a SEO term, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, there was lots of people sort of buying up links and going on Fiverr.com to do sort of dark marketing. But no, it wasn't about that at all. It was just about computer hackers. But yeah, okay, D23. So I didn't really care about D22 or D1 to D20. To be honest,
I've never heard about it until this year. To be honest with you.
But now they've got Star Wars.
Yeah.
My ears are now perked up. So D23. They rolled out Harrison Ford with all of the new young cast members.
Yeah.
To generally just say thank you and give everyone a poster and stuff. So
They just rolled him out there, didn't they?
yeah, they did. Well, he did. He seemed a bit worse for wear. I don't know if it was just because he was in awe or if he'd just
He probably
downed
crashed
a few
into the
whiskeys.
plane.
Yeah. But yeah, they all the young new cast members were out there, and they showed a poster, and it had the guy, the black guy,
Yep.
and he was actually holding a lightsaber in this one.
Yeah, holding not only Anakin's lightsaber, it looked like as well.
Oh right, I didn't go into that much detail.
That
Wow.
looked like it was Anakin's lightsaber. So I don't know, that's speculation, but that's me and a lot of people on the internet think that's Anakin's lightsaber. So is he a Jedi? Is he not? We don't know.
Gives that impression, doesn't it?
It does.
So.
It's Kylo.
Well, I don't think they're not allowed to use the word Jedi anymore. I think the new canon from Disney now says that there's only sort of 4 Jedi or something. So there's only Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, Luke, and I don't even think Leia's allowed to be called a Jedi. I think Jedis are now very limited. Everyone else is Force sensitive.
Oh, okay.
So unless you've been properly trained as a Jedi, you can't be called a Jedi. So.
Well, I see that was the rumor I heard this week, which I don't know if I want to believe it or not. But if I do believe it, it'd be quite cool. That Kylo Ren, the one with the big is Luke, and that's Darth Vader's mask reformed. Luke's gone to the dark side, and that's just a fan rumor, but that would be amazing.
That would be good. That would be good
because you've not seen Luke yet in the trailers. You've not seen him at all in the trailers, and if you've just seen Kylo Ren with the mask and you don't know who's underneath it, so that could be interesting.
Yeah, because you see him sort of touch
The
R2D2, don't you? And he's a shadowed figure there. You see.
Yeah, and they had the melted Darth Vader mask in the first trailer.
Yeah.
So that could be an interesting theory.
Yeah, and then Captain Phasma. They showed some toys, didn't they? So they said Force Friday on September the 4th. They're releasing the first set of toys.
Yeah.
And so they showed a little bit of Kylo Ren and Captain Phasma and stuff. So it looks quite cool. And I think I watched a few extra videos of people sort of analysing toys, and they turned it over, and there was some extra characters on the back, and they hadn't announced yet. I think it was part of a Target leak, actually. The American store Target. So there was a leak of the toys that were coming out, and then on the back it had a few extra characters which haven't been announced yet. I can't remember for the life of me what their names are.
I'm hoping they don't spoil too much with the merchandise. I mean, do you remember with the Phantom Menace? They sort of ruined the end of it by releasing the soundtrack about a month before, and one of the tracks was called Qui-Gon Jinn's Funeral. You're just like, oh well, okay then, so he's dead. But I'm hoping they learnt the lessons from that, and I'm sure they have. But those toys that a lot of people were saying, oh, we don't want to see the leaks of the toys, but those toys, that showed in those pictures didn't even have articulated limbs. They were just sort of proper. They were the proper kids' toys. The Infinity type toys. They're not going to be, the real men's toys that we all want to go and buy.
The ones that we can bend the arms and legs on.
Yeah, that we want. Yeah, they will stay in their wrappers forever.
So, well, it was good to see them that now we're only going to wait for another 2 weeks before we actually start getting a few bits more information. And I think the people seemed really media trained. So I saw some interviews with some of the characters and they weren't giving away anything.
Well, they can't, can they? They know that this is their life now if they've signed up for this.
Yeah, they can't ruin it now.
Did you see the stuff about the next film as well, Rogue One? That looks fantastic.
In the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, they released one screenshot of it. It looked fantastic. It looks really sort of dark and grim. And this is the story of how they got the plans for the Death Star in A New Hope. It's a prequel. They said many Mothmans died to get us this information. These are the Mothmans that died to get them to that information.
Bothans, I think.
Sorry, yes.
Bothans?
Yeah, Bothans. So these are, this is the story of that. So it's a heist movie. Basically.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is coming out in 2017, I believe. I can't wait. There's at least one screenshot, and it's all over the internet. You can't miss it. But they've got the style perfect, and they've got a female lead in it. It's got a few sort of recognisable faces, but no one major. But they just seem to have the style absolutely perfect for it. So really, really looking forward to that one.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, no, I was a bit too taken with all of the actual Disney stuff. So they announced the new Disney princess as Moana, this kind of Polynesian princess. So a little bit in the sort of the same ilk as Lilo and Stitch.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they showed a visual of her in a boat. So it's kind of I think The Rock was in it as well. So Moana's going to be this next Disney princess. So and my girl's going to be excited about that. That's next year. There was posters up for a load of Pixar movies, so Toy Story 4,
Wreck-It Ralph 2,
Cars 3, Incredibles 2, Finding Dory.
Finding Dory, that looked fun as well.
Yeah, apparently she's got like a really short memory. Apparently she sort of wakes up and she has a memory of her parents or something, or her mum, and that memory then sparks her off to go find her family and stuff, so that could be quite nice. And then Toy Story 4, I don't know how they're going to string this one out. Apparently it's going to be this sort of Woody and Bo Peep romantic comedy.
Okay.
So Bo Peep sort of disappeared out of 3. She's not actually in it.
Yeah.
And there's no real explanation of why. So apparently this is either going to explain it, or I think she was a nightlight. So I don't know if she survived the transfer of going to the new kid. So maybe Woody now wants to go. Now Woody's sort of grown up, as it were, or the kids have grown up. Maybe he then wants to go and find Bo Peep and live out his life with Bo Peep.
I'm sure. In Pixar we trust. I'm sure they'll do something.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun. But yeah, it felt like the Marvel announcement. Do you know where they're just like going on? And over the next 5 years, we're going to release 20 movies.
Yeah.
So there was loads. There was Coco, which was all about this boy during the Day of the Dead festival in Mexico.
Yeah.
Which kind of had that. What's that game that you love?
Guacamelee.
The Guacamelee kind of look. There's Zootopia, which is out really soon. Gigantic, everyone was super excited about.
Yeah.
That's like the Jack and the Beanstalk movie with the director of Rapunzel and the songwriters of Frozen.
Okay.
So I think they're pinning a lot of stuff on Gigantic being really good. And there's loads of different shorts being announced. The last, I think it's The Last Dinosaur or The Lost Dinosaur or something like that. That looked pretty cool. So yeah, it's just like announcement after announcement.
Well, Disney basically rule the world at the moment, don't they? They've got Marvel, all their own stuff, and Star Wars. They're going to release in movies every month for the next few years, to be honest. But they were doing a lot of good stuff. I'm really looking forward to a lot of the stuff that they're bringing out. So I think it'll be interesting.
Absolutely. And the weirdest thing which I saw at lunchtime today, it was Tim Burton is turning
Yeah,
on the
Blackpool Illuminations. Yep. Yeah, I think that's brilliant.
It is just insane. It's like Timmy Mallet does that kind of thing. We're talking Z-list celebrities turn on the Blackpool Illuminations.
He loves the place. He was because him and Sam Jackson were there 3 or 4 months ago filming something together, and he was there last year filming something else. He's totally fallen in love with Blackpool. So yeah, Tim Burton's turning on the Blackpool Illuminations. I might actually go home to watch that.
It is tempting, yeah, because that's next month. And
Yeah.
the biggest stars before that was things like Doctor Who, Tom Baker, and Kermit the Frog.
And Shergar the racehorse, don't forget that one. We had a racehorse turn on the lights once. And Big Daddy did it.
Yes, that's really weird, but that's cool.
Yeah, I might actually go home to watch that. I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So, and what have you got planned for the following week? Have you got your eyes on any games or any movies or anything? Is there anything coming up that you're excited about?
For me, it's the Gears of War. I want my first Gears of War experience. I think that's next week. So I've got it pre-ordered already on Xbox. I'll have to double check when it's actually coming down. But yeah, really looking forward to that. Movies wise, there's not much out I want to see at the moment. Agent 47. I've just seen a review of that today. It's getting sort of middling reviews. The Hitman movie.
Yeah, the Hitman movie. Yeah.
I like the Hitman games, or being a big fan of them. The first Hitman movie was okay, sort of middling as well. So if they've done a similar sort of thing with this, if it's just a good action movie, I'll probably go and see it. I might not go see it at the cinema, but we'll see. I really want to see Straight Outta Compton, the NWA movie.
Oh, yeah.
I really, really want to see that. So I might try and find time to go and see that. But living in the Lake District, my cinemas are quite few and far between, so it's a bit of a trip to go and see one, but I'm sure I'll find time. But gaming-wise, I'm going to put some more time into Destiny, as per usual. And I'm actually really, really still enjoying Rocket League. I've got a couple of guys that I'm playing with quite regularly on Rocket League now. And that is really good fun. And because they're only 5-minute matches when you go on, so it is literally, I'll just play for 15 minutes. I'll just do 3 games and come off. So it doesn't take up that much time. So I really enjoy that for that as well. What about yourself?
Yeah, well, I just put a video on my site for Smite. And so I was part of this Smite beta testing, probably along with another million people. But Smite came out, I think, today. So if you get a chance, I'd definitely say download it. It's free anyway. So I'd definitely say it's worth a go because it's like third-person Dota.
Okay. Yeah, I might get, because I've never really played a massive MMO anyway. So I might give it a try. MOBA, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
So I might give it a try.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's because it's free to play, and you get a couple of characters to play with to begin with, and then they cycle characters to sort of try them on. So they might have you might try Carly for a week, and then that'll change to Hercules, and that might change again. So you can sort of try it out and see if it's your kind of thing. And I can imagine it being sort of like this generation's kind of GoldenEye in many ways, because it's one of those things where
claim.
I know. Sorry, I know that is a big claim, but I don't mean it in the size of popularity. I think I can just see a lot of people in dorm rooms or in universities playing this type of this MOBA game, because it's like a little sort of mini game of chess, but it lasts about half an hour. You get your way through the different channels. You take out the towers. You take out the little army, and then take out the boss. And it's kind of this new generation of pick up and play games, but with a little bit of strategy behind them.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll probably give it a try.
It's a lot more accessible than Dota. You don't have people screaming down microphones at how crap you are.
I have that every online game I play. I'm kind of used to that now.
But yeah, apart from that, I think I'm looking forward to Disney Infinity, looking forward to Tales of the Borderlands Episode 4. I'm really looking forward to having a go with that. Getting back into some more writing, really. Having reviewed probably 3 games or something in the last week. Things like Far Cry just take up a lot of my time, so I'm looking forward to playing some shorter games whilst playing Batman. and just getting into reviewing more.
You're really going to enjoy Batman. I think it's good. Don't rush it. I know you'll probably want to try and get a review out or something like that, but don't.
Well, I'm
don't
already
rush
so
it.
late on that, so
Just
I don't think...
enjoy it. I think I probably rushed it, and I still put about 30 hours into it. There's a lot more that can be done, a lot more to be seen out there. I rushed the story at least, but it's a story that you want to know. You know, you don't. I want to know what's happened. It keeps ending on a cliffhanger every mission. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy that. So we'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah. Also, I signed up for the Fable Legends beta. So
see that's another game that I sort of missed not having an Xbox. So I think I might dive into that one and see what it's all about.
Oh, well, yeah. Until recently, I couldn't give anything of it. To be honest, I don't want to swear, but yeah, I wasn't really bothered. I didn't really like the idea of this sort of 4v1. But in more recent interviews and the more recent videos, I was starting to feel like maybe I'd just like to try it out. I'd like to see what it's like, see what this idea of the 4 different heroes versus the villain. I think it was the setting that put me off at first, having this kind of, a knight versus this evil overlord, but there is different characters that have ranged weapons and almost like machine gun style crossbows.
Yeah.
So there's that opportunity to be like a over the shoulder third person shooter, and then you with your mates going down this sort of maze while somebody just tries to troll you. Basically, somebody keeps throwing stuff in your way to just piss you off. So I like that. I think I'd just like to try it. I don't think it's going to be one of those that I'm going to get into and people are going to be playing for ages. But yeah, I signed up because it was there, and I'm looking forward to getting accepted on that one.
Cool. So should we wrap it up? I think we've gone on for long enough.
Yeah. Anything you want to plug? Any Twitter?
I mean, if you want to follow me on Twitter, the best way to get a hold of me is just at ImageDemon78. And if you want to play a game on either PSN or Xbox, I can be found on there under the username just Image Demon.
Awesome. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at Gaming Debugged. And if you would like to play on Xbox and berate me for being rubbish, then I am Debugger0, and that's Debugger space 0, and that's my Xbox handle. If you go to the Gaming Debugged website, you'll see reviews of Race the Sun, Angry Birds 2, Her Story, lots of features about long games on the Xbox One, and of course all of the amazing podcasts that you may have missed. So if you do like this podcast, please give it a 5 stars in iTunes, because that will help us get found and help discover us. If you could tweet it and share it, that would be fantastic. And I think that's everything from me.
Yep. All right, thanks a lot for that, Ian.
No worries. And so this has been the Gaming Sessions podcast, the audio support group for gaming addicts. If you want to get in touch, please feel free at info@gamingdebug.com or just ping us on Twitter. And thank you very much, John.
Thanks a lot. Cheers for that.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.